The Chinese who come to Southeast Asia prove themselves as builders of cities and even states. Some achieved such brilliant success that they bridged the worlds of Imperial China and the Southern Ocean. The story This Mansion in Penang, known as the Blue House, shows how far the Chinese had come by the end of the 19th century. For it was built by one of the great entrepreneurs of the Chinese overseas world. His name was Chiang Fat-zu, and his life embodies the Chinese achievement.
他是首先是一个富商，因为他积累的这个30多年、40年吧，积累的这个资产呢，7800万两白银，这个数量呢是超过了那个清廷呢国库的这个财富，所以有人说是比皇帝还富有的这个侨民，他这个财富还对这个清廷的这个清朝的经济的发展，对当地的这个南洋的经济发展都有贡献。我就觉得他是一个商业天才，他是一个商业天才，最后是走到了一商一官，这么一生二任，然后呢，就是既能够跟这个朝廷交接，那么对推动经济发展，对他个人的这个在国内的投资都有好处，而且他对革命党也是支持的。对孙中山，他给了这个1910年在新加坡的时候，专款30万两白银。
Chiang recruited scores of skilled craftsmen to build his mansion. It has 38 rooms, 5 courtyards, 7 stairways, and no less than 220 windows. The Blue House took 7 years to build and mixes Mediterranean-inspired colors with Chinese construction methods. Some have called it the most beautiful house in the world. But that as it may, Chiang spent very little time enjoying his mansion. Such was the extent of his fame and prestige that his life was split between the world of the Southern Ocean and Imperial China.
当时他是居宰的身份，这个是去到底南洋，开始并没有找到工作，甚至于有时候在街头都这个是流浪，那么最后是通过这个会馆找到了这个工作，最后是当了这个采矿工。他岳父呢死了以后留下的这个遗产，他就开那个酒店，卖这个洋酒，各种洋酒，还有白酒。以后呢又承包这个鸦片，承包这个各种这个税收。
On June 14, 1903, Chiang was summoned to the Forbidden City in Beijing by the Empress Cixi, the famous Empress Dowager, and Emperor Guangxu. Here he was endowed with the rank of Chancellor. It was a generous compliment to a mere merchant who had spent so much of his life outside China.
张密士在华侨当中他是巨富，声望卓巨。那么也是清朝的这个首选，同时呢，他在铁路、金融和多个行业里头呢，在国内的投资都受到这个清廷的这个重视，所以呢，他召见的次数一共是有3次，第一次呢是1898，第二次呢是1903年，那么这一次呢授予他那个三品金堂次堂衔，那么第3次呢是1904年。这一次授给他图兵警太和光禄大夫。
The reason why Chiang was so admired by the Empress goes back over 10 years to 1891. This was the year Chiang made his first visit home, and he wanted to make his mark. So Chiang invested almost $40 million, a huge amount of money back then, in a rather surprising venture. He set up China's first winery to make wines to European standards with modern technology.
在1894年，在烟台创办了张裕这个洋酒公司，生产葡萄酒。那么这个当时是清廷的这个 第一批引进这个乔治所以得到了这个清廷的高度的重视。他呢当时的目的就是以这个作为这个风气，那么新商的这个先路，开一个新商的先路。他自己说，他说将来大具成效呢，那个逐渐来扩大，使得国计民生呢都能够通过他这个办厂而得到这个改善，所以这一点呢也使清廷呢很这个信任他。
The scale of Chiang Fat-zu's ambition is still apparent today, even though the modern Changyu winery retains few features from his time. Only the grapes are the same. When Chiang first built the winery, he had one problem after another. The grapes wilted in the fierce heat, and water leaked into the wine cellars. A lot of equipment and expertise was imported from Europe. Chiang brought to China professional Austrian winemakers and these custom-designed barrels.
张裕酒厂呢，一直到现在，百年张裕嘛，而且是那个品牌。所以张裕他一个经商的理念，还有就是他一个品牌意识，在100年那个时候他就有品牌意识。
Chiang Fat-zu even branched out into making prize-winning brandies. Chiang's work was all part of the Chinese empress's great design to modernize China, to drag her sprawling kingdom kicking and screaming into the 20th century. When Chiang came to the Forbidden City in 1904, he presented a book to the court. 12 Suggestions for Developing Commerce was the title.
里头就是有这个农工、这个路矿、招商，这是一；再一个就是这个开垦那个山地矿，要种植，还有水利。另外呢，他还有设立这个农业代耕公司。
Chiang proposed a radical overhauling of agriculture, industry, and infrastructure to build a truly national Chinese economy.
我认为呢，它是实业兴邦的纲领性的文件，它是多年的在这个海外经商以后他取得的这个经验，也包括了他吸收了西方先进的这个经商的这个理念，最后他来这个形成的。
Remarkably, Chiang's ideas about a managed economy are the same ones being promoted by the present-day Chinese government.
他这个人呢，很有预见，很有胆识。另外呢，他策划了、运作这些能力都非常强。作为一个中国人在海外，他认为他是很扬眉吐气的，像德国人曾经歧视说这个是买票，中国那个是轮船不能头等舱不能华人没有，他最后登那个在英文的这个是和外文的南洋的这个报纸上登广告，他要回家和这个德国这个商船呢公司呢竞争，那么最后呢就迫使的德国这家公司呢先跟他道歉，来取消这样的一个对华人歧视的这个条款。
Chinese ambition reached a climax in June 1910 when the World Expo opened in Shanghai. It was a spectacular event. The expo site covered about 470,000 square meters and featured 22 Chinese pavilions representing different industries and the work of different provinces.
他在这个第3次那个被召见的时候，他就向慈禧太后提出来，中国要搞这个大的博览会，这样呢可以这个开阔国人的眼界，促进了这个经济的发展。
International pavilions from the United States, Germany, and Japan showed off some of the technological innovations of the time. For many Chinese visitors, the expo provided their first glimpse of an elevator.
在1910年那个时候，中国的经济处在那么一个水平上，能够举办一个博览会，他这个是提出来，这个很了不起，这是他做成了的事情。
But for the old imperial China, the expo was too little, too late. A year later, the imperial court was swept away by the forces of nationalist revolution. The collapse of the Qing dynasty was both an end and a beginning, the end of an era and the opening of new opportunities in the motherland and in the Southern Ocean. In the new century, millions of Chinese more would follow in the footsteps of their ancestors, and the world of the Southern Ocean would again become a new frontier. They would experience suffering, bloodshed, but eventually become the most influential of all Southeast Asian peoples.